Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Conroy-Roth, and you are watching the latest episode of Lightning Leadership. With me, for the second time, is Glenn Keller. Glenn is a longtime friend, CIO. He's recently written a new book, and he loves the arts. And so, Glenn Keller, welcome so much to Lightning Leadership again.
Hey, thank you. I'm happy to be here for a second time, and always glad to do something like this with a friend. It makes it extra special.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, I know people talk a lot about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but you've taken it kind of a step further and you've included the arts. So we call it STEAM. You are also a CIO and have been in business for many, many years. Tell us how important the arts is for you and for your career.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very important for my career. You were at the book launch the other day, and so there were some old colleagues there from Public Service Indiana. That's not now it's Duke days. So this goes way back. I don't want to say how far back. Let's just say way back, like pre-internet. And they one of them was, we were just reminiscing, and someone asked who hired me, and we were talking about that. And I recalled during the interview what the gentleman said. The hiring manager. When I showed up my first day of work, he said, "Hey, you've got this computer science degree from Ball State. It's a master's. We've had good luck with Ball State graduates. We like the master's degree. That's what kind of got you into the interview." He said, "But what got you hired was that theater degree, because we really are curious to see where we go with that and how that works out." And we talked a little bit about presentation skills and speech skills and things like that.
Yeah.
That are important in the business world. But, I always say that it's a theater degree that really got me my computer science job.
So because of that interview?
Yes. Yeah, I had other interviews, obviously, but that one it was just interesting that he spit that out.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I think, when you look at all of the pieces and the parts, right, of the arts, you look at presentation, you look at communication,
Yes.
You look at being able to keep a poker face, right,
Yes.
During some very unique and sometimes tense experiences in dealing with the boardroom and other folks. And so, I reflect on my own career, and times I didn't necessarily have a poker face, right? But that's skilled acting and skilled training.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, having been on stage a lot, I mean, in my early career acting, I had a lot of problems not like letting out, what was going on in the back of my head, right? So, I'm worried about a line and I look worried.
Yeah.
To the audience. And so, I got a lot of coaching on that. And so, yeah, that definitely came into play. The other, that unique about theater a little bit, and I think it applies to most professions. I like to say that if you hire a theater major, you're going to hire somebody that has never been late on a project out of the gate, because the show always I've been on some shows.
Show must go on.
The paint is wet when the curtain opens. Or the lead actress comes out in her slippers or whatever. But the show is going to happen, right? You got an audience at 8:00 on a Friday night. That curtain's going up. So
that's a great point. I like that.
And then
a lot.
Yeah, and then if the person's been done backstage work and they're stage manager, they're used to hurting a lot of cats to make that all happen. So
that's awesome. So after being many, many years of CIO, I've known you for a long time. You have blogged, you have written short stories, and you've got some great examples on glennkeller.com. But you've also released and published a book, a fiction book, which I think is amazing, right? That you've done this and that you've put yourself out there, and the creativity and the characters are super cool. Tell me about writing a book. Tell me the reason why you wanted to write a book and what inspired you.
Well, I think I've always been a writer. So whether it's just blogging or writing for myself, I mean, I was, I had an English minor in college. I wrote on school newspapers. So that's always been part of my life. But professional activities kind of preclude sometimes writing a novel. But I just managed to do it over 4 years, a few minutes here and there, and big push at the end. But I got it written, and there's a lot to learn there about the publishing process and sales and everything like that. So I mean, the inspiration was one of my blog posts that I decided not to publish because, hey, I think there's more to it. It became a short story.
Okay.
It then and then somebody else showed up. So authors always say, like, they lose control of their characters every once in a while, and I always thought that was kind of just exaggeration. But I've seen it happen with me, right?
Okay.
So these two people showed up, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with them now? And so the story just kind of, they naturally blended in the story. It turned into a novella. At this point, I hired an editor. The editor said, well, I think you've got a novel here. Let's do some more development on this. And so that's how we got to the novel. And, there's some of my own, experiences woven into that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, as far as this is your first book, and I think, as you look at just a lifetime, right, of experiences. I mean, I know from, our past conversations, you grew up on the East Coast, moved to Indiana, you've had, hundreds of thousands of connections, over the years and characters to draw from, right? Yeah. How do you pick and choose?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I have several notebooks, and I just write things down as they come to mind. I've had a lot of interesting characters.
Yeah.
That have come to God, and a lot of I mean, there's a lot of professional experience there too.
Yeah.
I think our good friend mutual Jeff Tan.
Yeah.
We always have this funny conversation where he wants me to write something nonfiction, and Glenn, you maybe should write a leadership book, and I'm like, well, Jeff, you've already done that for CIO.
Yes.
And we have some other people in the community that have done that as well. I said, that book's been done.
Yeah.
If I could if I could write that book and there's sex and violence in it, then I'm going to probably write that book.
No sex and violence in a leadership book. No. I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's, I'm obviously having some fun with the sex and violence aspect, but I really like that, like, old noir, vibe, the detective story. I can't remember who it was that said it. If you ever get stuck on a plot point, just have someone walk in with a gun.
Yeah, no.
Right.
No,
and you just move. So I like kind of writing a little bit about things that have that dark side intertwined, but then I also like happy stories too. So there's got to be some happiness to it as well. So I don't know. I'll figure out the leadership book eventually, but
that's great. I've actually been toying with an idea on a leadership book, and so stay tuned for probably 2026 for more details on that one. So, from a leadership perspective, who inspires you? I mean, you recently did a presentation at an IT symposium back in the fall about World War II and just some of the generals, some of the decision points along the way. But what inspires you from a leadership perspective?
Oh, I have been exposed to a wide variety of leaders, and I was in a leadership forum yesterday. It's Tobias Leadership.
Yeah, IU.
Yes, yeah, IU, exactly. And so I went to their tune-up, right? Because I think it's always good to tune up. And they were asking who the leaders that you most admire, and something I realized is that every one of them was extremely tough, fair, but very tough.
Okay.
They, and I'm compare myself to them. I don't think I'm that tough, but all of them were. You did not want to get crosswise with these people, but if you did what you said you were going to do, even if you screwed up, if you
Yeah.
did what you said you were going to do, you were golden with them.
Hmm.
But yeah, I prefer that very challenging leadership style, and that I think that challenges me as an individual too. I've, my last two bosses have been, very, 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 very good. They're a lot of fun. They know how to engage their teams by, um, getting down there with them and kind of letting you run, but also popping in when they need to. But generally speaking, if if you're a leader with high expectations, you're going to inspire me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing. I actually just last weekend ran into one of your old bosses,
Oh,
and reconnected. She was sitting at a table next to us in a cafe in Berlin.
oh
It's,
yeah, I saw that picture.
yeah, that was pretty exciting, and
Yeah,
no idea, but
that's wild. That was
it was
great.
wild. But anyway, so Glenn Keller, how can people find you? If people want to read, obviously, if they want to get the book, it's
Yes,
available on Amazon, so they can read it there. And I
right,
know you have a website, glennkeller.com, as well as a LinkedIn site. If
correct.
people want to learn more about you and your leadership style or more information on the book, they can.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. I have a blog on glennkeller.com that you can subscribe to. Uh,
Okay.
there's also a mailing list. And the blog, you'll just see my creative writing posts, which I'd hope you sign up to that.
Good
And
deal.
some of those, I have fun with those. And occasionally I get a gem. So, but it's fun for me to write, and it's, you can see my writing style and kind of get an idea of what you're in for when you buy one of my books. Yeah, and then if you go to the website and sign up for my mailing list, then you're going to get information on where I'm speaking, where I may be doing a book launch or a signing party, or what my next book is. And
Sounds
then
great.
I also like to share some book news.
All right. And also on LinkedIn, check out Glenn Keller on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Glenn, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. And
sure.
thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.